Hey guys, alright, so I've just released a brand new product. You're looking at it right now. It's a realistic animated raindrop material. I've been wanting to create something like this for a really long time, and here we go. The awesome thing about this is it can actually be used within the 3D realm. So if your 3D program supports image sequences, you'll be able to take full advantage of the shaders. So I'm just gonna rewind you a little bit. I've put some examples together. So there you guys can see a close-up of the raindrop material. It is at 4K resolution, which means you'll be able to render out really close images like this. There's the bump, which is completely animated. It's 479 frames. So if you guys are actually not going the animated route, you will also have access to 479 unique frames that you can use for still images. And then there's a roughness map included as well. That's what's creating these streaks that you see over here. So you'll see as this advances forward, we've got this animation that was created by David Aru. He's an awesome motion graphics artist, and he used it on quite a complex surface, a human face. He was going for this melting ice type of look, and this is actually used for a music video. So yeah, that's the awesome thing about this material as well. It can be used on basically any piece of 3D geometry. And you'll see in the next scene, I put this one together, another complex surface. It's a vehicle, and we can see those raindrops flowing on the hood and all the way down on the bumper as well. And over here I put another scene together where I was trying to be creative and get the flow of these raindrops to go in reverse. So you can see whatever ideas you come up with, and wherever you need these realistic raindrops, you'll be able to include them in your scene and slap them onto any piece of 3D geometry. So I think it's really going to come in handy for you guys. But I think I've shown you enough over here. You've seen all of these examples. I want to actually show you how to create this material, right? So I'm going to open up Cinema 4D, which is the actual program I use to render out all of these animations. So if your 3D programs support image sequences, you'll definitely be able to use this. But this was created in Cinema 4D and for Octane Render. So if you're using those two together, you'll be able to use this straight away. But if your program supports image sequences, you'll be able to use this as well. Or you can pick it up and you'll just have access to tons of different frames that you can use for still images. Alright, so let's head over to Cinema 4D and let's set up this material. Okay, so before I jump to Cinema 4D, there's just one more thing I want to mention. When you guys actually get your hands on this product, these are the folders that you'll have access to. So we've got the full sequence, which is the bump and the roughness map, which is exactly what you guys are looking at here. That's the main full sequence for our animated raindrop material. So if you go in here, you can see we've got the bump map full sequence and the roughness map as well. So if I go in here, you can see here's every single image. There's 479 of these frames that creates this animated material. So we've got the bump and the roughness. Then we've got a folder that's just the drips. So basically, of course, I want to give you guys some choice as well. If you don't want these static little raindrops that you see over here, there is a folder that's just got these drips that are flowing down. So maybe you could apply this to a human character, a sweat, or get creative and maybe make it look like there's something flowing on their arms, or I don't know, like it's completely up to you guys what you plan to do with these. So it doesn't just have to be a raindrop material. You can decide how you want to go and use this, but it's completely animated. There we've got the roughness as well, all 479 frames. And then we have a dirty roughness map over here, which is just a single image which has just got some dirt and surface imperfection on it. So to show you guys a little bit better, here is an image. So here's the full sequence that I mentioned that's got the bump and the roughness, and the roughness is creating these streaks that you see over here. Then the bump map just by itself has no streaks. It's just got these raindrops flowing down on what maybe we consider over here very clear glass. And then of course we've got the bump and the dirty roughness map, which is going to give you that surface imperfection. So I'm giving you guys some choice. You can choose how you want to go ahead and use this. If you want to use the bump on its own, or if you want to use the bump with the roughness maps as well. Alright, so let me show you how to actually set up this material. Now I'm using Cinema 4D and Octane Render because that's what I've basically tested this particular raindrop material with. So if your 3D program supports image sequences, you'll definitely be able to take advantage of these maps as well. But of course, I'm going to be showing you how to do this with Cinema 4D and Octane Render. So once you've got Cinema 4D open, let's go ahead and create 3 different primitives. So I'm going to create a sphere, I'm going to create a cylinder, and I'm going to create a plane as well, just to show you guys like I mentioned, this works on any piece of 3D geometry. So I'm just rotating that in my scene. And here for my sphere, I'm just going to add some more segments. I'll put that on 60. And now we are good to go. Right, so I'm going to go to Create, Shader, Cinema 4D Octane, Octane Material. And let's just drag and drop this onto every single primitive. Let's double click on that. And now if we go in for this particular look and feel over here, which looks like raindrops on a specular or glass material, you'd want to change your material type to specular, but I just want to show you straight away how to set this up on a glossy material. So I'm going to select glossy, and now we can go down to bump, click on texture, Cinema 4D Octane, image texture, go into the image texture, and let's click on these three dots. Alright, so you want to go to your folder where these files are. Okay, so we're going to be using the full sequence. Go to the bump map and just select the first image, 000. Click on open. Over here we can say no, and then I'm going to go to, actually if you look over here in the viewport, you can already see some of those raindrops visible on the geometry. But you want to make sure you go to animation, and here movie start is on 0 and the movie end frame is 479, which is the complete cycle of our animation, but you can choose where you want to start and stop the raindrop sequence. And then the movie frame rate, we want to put this on 24 frames because that's what I rendered this animation out of After Effects at. Right, so make sure that's on 24 frames, and now we are actually good to go. I'm just going to go to the diffuse, click on color, let's select blue. Alright, and now let's bring up our Octane live viewer. So I'm going to go to plugins, Cinema 4D Octane, and go to live viewer window. Let's click on the gear icon, and there we go. Now I'm going to go to objects, lights, and let's bring in an area light. Okay, I'm going to go to my Octane light settings, and this is probably the most important part, is the lighting in the scene as well. That's going to determine where light is going to hit these raindrop particles and really make it stand out and look aesthetically pleasing. So I'm going to bump up our power here a bit. Okay, I'll go back in my scene and let's just rotate this a little bit, just so you can see the sun over there. It's busy hitting these raindrops. So yeah, there we go. This is already good to go. You'll see if I go on my timeline and I start scrubbing forward, if you pay attention to these raindrops, here you go, you can see it's completely animated. So it really is that simple, and you can see this is on 3 different pieces of geometry, and you can apply it onto any single piece of 3D geometry, guys. And that's what I really like about this shader. It's flexible. Well, not in a gymnastics term, but it's flexible in terms of the fact that you can use it on any piece of 3D geometry. So the possibilities are endless for what you guys plan on doing with this. Okay, so there we go. And now I'm going to bring up the Octane material editor again. So this is what it just looks like with this on the bump. Let's go back into the bump. Let's click on shade again. Now the cool thing is we can still continue adjusting some parameters here. So if I put this on something like 20 and press enter, you can see we can make these raindrops really prominent now. So you can play around with that and get a look and feel that you are happy with. Now I'm going to bring that back to 1 and press enter. Now let's add our roughness. So I'm going to select roughness, click on texture, Cinema 4D Octane, image texture, go into that, click on these 3 dots, and now let's go to our roughness folder. So same thing like what we did earlier, select the first frame, open that, animation, let's put that on 479 and 24 frames. Alright, so now as you guys can see over here, with the roughness applied, this roughness is basically creating these streaks. So to see this really nicely, if I go to the sphere over here, you can see this area over here where the rain drop is basically flowing. It's basically, there's some lighting information that's hitting that over here, and the rest of this has a lot more roughness applied to it. So definitely if you're going for a more realistic look and feel, you'd probably want to use the roughness in conjunction with the bump map. You'll see if I get rid of this, that streak is now gone. Bring it back and we can just see some more visible streaks. So that's it, guys. That's basically how you set this up. It's super easy. You can go ahead, apply this onto whatever you want. Let me just make this a bit smaller. Apply it onto whatever you guys want, and it's completely animated right now. You'll see I'll scrub a lot forward, and there's just going to be a lot more of these streaks visible here. And that's it. Super simple to set up. Endless possibilities. You can apply it to any piece of 3D geometry. I'd love to see how you guys go ahead and use this. Of course, its main purpose is to be used as a raindrop material, but yeah, you can get creative and see what else you guys can actually come up with. And if you wanted to, you could go back into this material. If I went to the roughness, you could try inverting this and seeing what other results you come up with, right? So that's the beauty about this stuff, is that we can still continue modifying it to get a different look and feel. So that's the streaks inverted. We could go ahead invert our bump as well. So now that's digging into the mesh, right? And we can just see what we can come up with. Right, so that is our animated raindrop material set up from start to finish within Cinema 4D and Octane Render. Alright, so one last thing I wanted to mention is that since we have access to all of these parameters over here, we can, of course, if we wanted to, we could go into the UV transform as well. So I'm here by the bump UV transform, and we can actually rotate this. Right, now obviously I'd want to go back and put the exact same value on my roughness as well. So just for now, let's go ahead and just clear the roughness. But you can see we can go ahead and rotate this. So maybe if you were creating a scene with a car that's driving and there's raindrops on the window, and those raindrops are obviously going to be affected by the speed and the gravity, you can do that. So you can make the raindrops flow in this direction. Okay, and now something to keep in mind, the entire animation is a loop seamlessly, but this particular map with this material is not tileable. So if you guys go into UV transform and you start playing around with the scale, now depending on the geometry, there's going to be some breaks in the actual texture because, like I said, it's not tileable. So just keep that in mind. But it's really nice. I think it's really nice that you can still go ahead and modify or play around with these parameters and still see everything animated on your objects. So just have fun with this material, guys, and see what you can come up with. Okay, so that's our material on this glossy material type. So we want to go ahead and select specular, and this is where it's really going to look like it's been applied to glass. So we've got our roughness over here and our bump all applied. And like I said, what's really important is the lighting in your scene is going to play a really important role in determining how this is actually going to look. Now if I go back to the roughness over here and actually bring down this mix value, I can choose how much of that roughness I actually want to mix into our material over here. Now of course we need some better lighting in our scene over here just to see this a bit better. But that's also something to keep in mind. If you adjust this mix value, you see if I bump this all the way up or bring it down, you can determine how much of that roughness is going to work in conjunction with the bump map. So it's completely up to you guys, and that obviously works with the glossy material type as well. So you can choose how you want to go ahead and use that. So yeah, that's basically how you go ahead and set this up, guys. Use it on whatever piece of 3D geometry you want. I've showed you those examples of mine that you can see over here. I've used some HDRIs to light different scenes, so that lighting was just hitting it from a certain angle, which made it look aesthetically pleasing. So make sure you're playing around with lighting as well. And you can see, obviously, I want to show you guys examples of how it's been used instead of just, you know, trying to promote this product to you and say, hey, here's a raindrop material. I want to show you practical uses for it as well. So like I said, make sure you play around with your lighting, play around with those different sliders, and just get creative. But it's super simple to set up and it's good to go. Alright, so that's going to bring us to the end of this demo. I basically showed you this raindrop material that I've put together. I obviously want to give credit to Andrew Kramer. I actually watched his video tutorial from Video Copilot, and there were some really awesome techniques that he showed you how to create raindrops in After Effects. But I took those techniques and I built upon them to basically push this raindrop material a lot further. And then of course I prepared the maps, I created the roughness maps and everything so that we could use it within the 3D realm as well, you know, instead of just being constricted to After Effects. So of course, all credit to Andrew Kramer for teaching me the techniques, but like I said, I didn't just stop there. I decided to build on that as well and put together this product for you guys that you can start using right now. So it's available on my Gumroad, on my ArtStation, and on my QBrush. You'll see the links down in the description or linked on the first pinned comment. Right, so obviously I want to say thank you so much to you guys for the support on this channel, and thank you so much just for supporting me in general. I truly appreciate it so much. You guys are really awesome, and stay tuned for some more videos and tutorials, and goodbye.